As a gamer, there is nothing that strikes more fear into our hearts than the thought of touching grass. But today, I'm going to do just that. So join me in my quest to see how fast you can touch grass in every single Monster Hunter game. Starting from where the series first began, in Monster Hunter 1. Before we begin our epic journey, however, I need to establish some ground rules. Number 1, the timer will begin the second that I start my save file, as that is when our journey truly begins. And number 2, I am going to be grouping games that start similarly together. For example, MH1, MHG, and Freedom will all count as the same game. But with these two rules now clarified, may the story begin. As I boot up MH1, I felt a sense of wonder and awe, as this was where the series first began. So I named myself Grass, and after the game's control scheme, I began my quest to touch some grass. But before I could do that, we're met with a small introductory cutscene showing off Kokoto village. Then a slow pan of my hunter, sleeping through the covers as any normal person does, before I butt scoot out of bed and made a mad dash for the door. And just like that, MH1 is complete in a respectable 59 seconds. Feeling rather proud of myself, I decided to take a victory lap around the village where I met this little goblin. I couldn't understand what he was saying because I only speak grass. But he gave me 1500 zenny, so I took that as an invitation to leave the village and go to the next game. Starting Dos, I already knew a name I was going to choose. Gracias. You know, like gracias, but grass, because Dos means two in Spanish. It's funny. As I finally get into the game, I met with Jumbo Village, and the name started to make sense once I saw Long Schnoz McGee with his jumbo nose, who tells me that I can build a reputation as an ace hunter in the Jumbo Village. But all I want to do is be the resident grass-touching aficionado. So I stole his money and I touched some grass in record time. 24 seconds! An insane decrease from the 59 seconds it took me in MH1. And despite the fact that my journey was just beginning, I began to doubt whether any other game could top this one because 24 seconds is insanely low. But we still have 7 sets of games to go, and you never know what could happen. So, completely flabbergasted by its sheer girth, I decided to take one last look at Long Schnoz McGee before making my way to the next game, Freedom Unite. The farthest back I've personally gone in this series before making this video, and a game that I really enjoy playing, but suck really bad at. So with that in mind, I named myself Forlorn because I'm hopeless at this game. Here we're met with our first introductory cutscene, but luckily we can skip right past it to see some creep whispering sweet nothings into my ears, saying I need to rest a few days because my back is too bruised. But dang it, I just want to touch some grass! However, against my will, I listened to the creepy man standing next to my bed and I took a rest. In the meantime, I was introduced to the wonderful village of Poke, along with one of the best village themes in the series, in my opinion. Once that cutscene finishes, it pans into our room where I saw this super realistic bird. I named him Pablo. So, as a callback to my first adventure, I butt scoot out of bed again and ran straight out the door. Deja vu! Where we're met with some glorious grass in the longest time yet of 1 minute and 5 seconds. And while I was disappointed that it took me over a minute to touch some grass, I had to keep in mind that this game had the largest amount of obstacles so far. We had the intro cutscene that took a couple seconds, and then we had Creeper McCreepyton talking to me, and finally the Poke Village cutscene. So that took up a good amount of time. But I kept my head up high. I said goodbye to Pablo, and I went to Portable Third. Right off the bat, I knew I had to name myself Elon Musk because we're mowing through these games faster than Elon is killing Twitter. I skipped the game's intro cutscene and we load into us sitting in a hot spring, which I really needed because touching grass is exhausting. As soon as I possibly could, though, I sprang out of that hot spring and made my way to the exit, where we're introduced to Yakumo Village. As soon as the cutscene finished, I ran down the stairs as fast as possible to complete Portable Third in 1 minute and 20 seconds. At this point, I was starting to feel a little distraught. I went from touching grass in Dos in 24 seconds to now touching grass in 1 minute and 20. However, I had to keep going. I talked to the Akumo chief who invited me to stay in the village, but I was on a mission to touch grass, so I couldn't stay. But, like any smart hunter, I indulged the village chief so she could give me her money so I could commit Grand Theft Zenny as I run away to the next game. Where my hunting journey first began. And with knowledge of the game, I had to name myself Grass Cheek because this game can get a bit cheeky at times, if you know what I mean. So with the longest intro cutscene yet, we finally get into the game, 2.5 minutes in, where this old fart exposition dumps all over me before I run to this point right here. I debated whether to count this or not, but I decided against it because it feels more like moss or weeds growing on some rocks. So instead, I booked it to Muggle Woods, where the old fart wouldn't leave me alone before I am finally able to touch some grass in 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Or at least that's what I would say if I was a dingus. You see, I have what you call knowledge of this game. And like the giga brain that I am, I know that instead of running out to Muggle Woods, I can hit that 145-degree angle and run straight down into the farm, where I can truly complete my grass-touching journey in 2 minutes and 44 seconds. A whole 9 seconds faster. A boom! And while I was there, I couldn't help but notice the absolute divinity that is Poogie, so you know I had to go say hello. However, I think I rubbed it the wrong way because it seemed like it got mad and wee. Well, with Grass Cheek officially being the first hunter to cart to a Poogie, I had no choice but to start my next journey into 4 Ultimate. Starting it up, I had to name myself Sirloin Steak, because we are getting to the meatiest part of our journey. So far, this journey has been rather smooth sailing, but the waters are about to get choppy. If you've ever played 4E before, then you know that we have the biggest obstacle yet before us. The Great Desert and the Darren Moran. As the Caravaneer, aka Big C, loses his hat, he shoves the burden onto me to go retrieve it. So I run up Mr. Whale's arm, grab the hat in a panic, and hop back down onto the ship safe and sound, where Big C informs me that I have used a cannon to light up Mr. Whale. So I grabbed myself a cannonball and made my way to the cannon. But I've never used a cannon before, I've only touched grass, so I blew myself up. Whoops. Learning from my mistake though, I figured out how this cannon works and blew him up twice. Clearly shook by my awesomeness, Mr. Whale shuddered before he decided to go sicko mode and jumped over my ship. Dumbfounded, I quickly ran to get another cannonball, but still stupefied on how Mr. Whale knows how to enter sicko mode, I blew myself up again. Coming back to my senses from the blow, however, I regained full consciousness and continued my onslaught of cannonballs, and things felt as if they were going swimmingly. All of a sudden though, Big C warned me Mr. Whale was about to unleash a massive attack. So, I thought I could use the gong to stop it. But I was wrong. And this was when my life began to flash before my eyes. Is my grass-touching journey over? Am I about to die? Memories of my past experiences began flowing into my mind. Goblin, Long Schnoz McGee, Pablo, Grand Theft Zenny.
Them luscious cheeks.
No, I couldn't die yet. I had to live and complete my mission. So I held on for dear life, and I persisted in my journey to touch some grass. It was time to end this. Right as Mr. Whale was sizing up my ship, I landed the decisive blow. Exhausted from this life-threatening experience, I was relieved that I could take a breather while I watched 3 minutes and 19 seconds of cutscenes before I was finally in control again. And while I was spamming through the text as fast as possible, I couldn't help but notice some interesting things that Big C was saying. Apparently Big C has a big, fat, massive caravan. He has a massive caravan. Only one worthy of a capital C. Impressed by my skills, Big C wanted me to join the Big C Club, but I didn't feel worthy, so I declined. However, he coerced me into joining anyways, and the first thing Big C wanted to do was try my meat. He then introduced me to the Guildmarm manning the station, who is a quote, and the other member of the Big C Club,
The man.
apparently Big C's partner and a dexterous fellow. Har. After Big C finally lets me loose, I run away in fear to the Guildmarm, who said she is ready to get down to
Business.
I quickly accepted the quest for Big C to try my meat, but unfortunately for him, I just came to touch some grass as I made my way for the exit. As soon as I get into the quest, I'm teased with an introductory cutscene showing off the Ancestral Steps base camp where I can see some grass. So as soon as that finished, I run straight for the grass, but then these hooligans stop me before I can finally touch some grass in the disgustingly long time of 10 minutes and 21 seconds. However, after fixing up some of my mistakes, I was able to lower that time down to 9 minutes and 41 seconds. Despite the fact that I just came here to touch some grass, I was feeling guilty for leading Big C on and letting him think that he could try my meat. So, against my better judgment, I decided to let him try my meat anyways. Turns out he thought it was beastly, so realizing that I'm way too good to be part of the Big C Club, I left to find myself a different club that is more deserving of my beastly meat, as I make my way to Generations Ultimate. Next up, we have Generations and Generations Ultimate. And after coming from the longest time yet for you, I was a little skeptical about what this game would hold. However, I named myself Grassfault, because we're about to burn some rubber. We get introduced to Burn a Village, and just like that, we are finished in the low time of 34 seconds. Placing it in second place just behind the almighty Longschnoz McGee. Feeling reinvigorated by this monumental time, I felt happy enough to say hello to this weird looking dog and I give it a goodbye kiss before I head to the next game. Starting up world, we begin seeing a ship full of people before Aiden starts to introduce himself to us.
You ready to grab this new world by the horns?
Soon later, the serious handler comes along, shoving Aiden aside, causing him to spill his brew over this girl's books. She did not like that. Next thing you know, they're asking me for my name. So, for fairness' sake, I stopped the timer here because World is the only game where you create your character after you start your save file. I named my hunter this. And to the untrained eye, you are probably reading this as Grace. But to the linguistic genius that is me, I know it's actually pronounced Grass. So with Grass's journey officially beginning, we have more unimportant introductory cutscenes before thrift store Godzilla finally shows up and knocks us off our ship. As I regain consciousness, I make a mad dash for the rock wall where I meet up with that, as she points out our ship that seems to be in quite the predicament before Captain Obvious tells me to run away. But right as I start to do so, this completely unnecessary cutscene of the ship falling mere feet away from us has to play. Narrowly escaping with my life, I can finally start to ascend the obstacle course that is Zora Magdros' back, along with its flaking rock dandruff, before I reach Zora's head to jump off, grapple onto this wing drake, save the handler, and be introduced to
The new world.
However, the wing drake can no longer hold the weight of my burdens, and I fall straight for the ground. Like a true monster hunter though, I'm immune to fall damage, so I get up, take in my surroundings, and I can finally touch some grass. And with that, Worldborn is done in the disgraceful time of 9 minutes and 6 seconds. So like any logical person, I ran in the opposite direction of the handler and began my journey to touch some grass in our final game. Here we are, the final game in the Monster Hunter franchise at this current moment that we need to touch grass. The absolute might of Longschnoz McGee currently reigns supreme as the grass-touching champion, but will Rise and Sunbreak surpass such power? Let's find out. In this final journey, I had to name myself Watermelon, because things are about to get juicy. We have both a dog and a cat to name, and there was only one thing that I could do with this much power. So I named my dog Adfast because, and I named my cat, You Just Got Pranked. Unlike Worldborn, I can skip the introductory cutscene, saving a monumental amount of time, where we are introduced to the village of Kimura and told to follow the attractive lady. But I didn't want to, and instead touched some grass. Completing Rise and Sunbreak in 21.27 seconds, dethroning Longshaw's McGee, and taking the crown, as we have a new grass-touching champion. And with that, we have our official rankings of which Monster Hunter game you can touch grass in the fastest. And our journey is now complete.